Are you thinking about selling and want to avoid the common home seller mistakes? How do you prepare your home for sale to get it to sell faster? Well, stay tuned as I discuss home staging tips, including simple home presentation techniques to make sure you get that buyer right into contract. Hi, I'm Theresa Wellman with HomeownerExperience.com, your local San Jose, California Realtor. Today I'm taking my 16 years of experience and boiling it down into several techniques and tips to help you present and stage your home the best. So there are three main areas or time frames for a seller to prepare for. The first is going to be that online impression and presentation of your home to buyers. 99% of home buyers are going to see your home online first. So it really needs to present attractively online. And I have 4 tips that I can cover that will help you with that. The second area is getting the buyer to your property and making that first great impression when they visit your home. And the third is once the buyer is interested, they're going to do their research and exploring all of the disclosures and reports that you have provided up front and what you can do to improve that to make sure you've got a solid buyer. So let's go ahead and jump into that first category of making the best first impression. Okay, so when a buyer's looking at your home, they're sitting at the computer and they're going click, 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 and they're scrolling through all the photos that are available for your home. Hopefully there's at least 20, but in most cases, buyers love to see 40 or 50 homes because they want to see the neighborhood, they want to see the backyard, they want to see details of the home. But when you're going from one photo to the next, have you ever noticed when all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that room, where did that come from? That color is shocking or totally different, or where is that? It doesn't seem like it's in sync with the house. So my first tip is going to be really paying attention to the palette of your home. The biggest mistake I see is that home sellers do remodeling throughout the years of living in a home. And one time they felt like warm colors were in, and then they felt cool colors were in, and it was oil rub bronze, and then it was brushed nickel, and then they have chrome or still brass from when this house was originally built. So there's all kinds of mismatching, and it just really makes the home feel broken up and not well presented or well thought out. So I'm gonna help sellers put all this together to make the best first impression and have the home present the best online. The second tip is to declutter your property. When buyers are looking at photos, they don't want to see your stuff. They don't want to see a whole bunch of furniture. They want to see the house. They want to feel the space. So really declutter, purge, live a very simple life, pre-pack tons. It's really critical in that presentation of your home. Point number 3 is lighten and brighten. I mean, take down those draperies. We don't need to see those or replace them with really light sheers. You've got a lot of shutters. You might consider, unless they're really high quality, you might consider removing them because it really darkens a room and space, and that matters for photos as well as when a buyer visits the property. Or if it's just about the presentation, maybe you can open the shutters and allow the light to come in, and then people see that there is an option to close it and have the shutters as well. Number 4 is making sure your agent hires a professional photographer. Professional photography makes a huge difference. You would be surprised how many agents out there just do really unprofessional cell phone photos, or the photos aren't leveled, or the photography is not very professional, and the lighting is off. All this really matters on that impression of your home. So when you're interviewing listing agents, make sure you're looking at their past listings and understanding what kind of marketing quality they will be offering you. Okay, let's go into section number 2 about the home visits and presentation. Biggest one I see that's a fail is smells. Oh boy. Be sure that you are aware you're taking out your trash daily, you're not doing any really fragrant cooking in the property while it's on the market. Do all that cooking outside or do takeout while your property is on the market. Smells can turn off buyers. I have several examples of this, but one in particular really sticks out where a buyer walked into the property, it smelled of rotten fish, and I'm pretty sure it was located in the trash. The buyer turned around and walked out right away, never even looked at the house and would not go back. You don't want to make that kind of first impression and take away a potential buyer because of a smell in the house. Other big ones are pet smell, dirty clothes or laundry smell, and overwhelming fake smell like plug-in smell or like you're trying too hard. That is also overwhelming for some people. The best thing to do is open up the windows as well as get deep professional clean and minimize your cooking and pet access in the house while it's on the market. Another one that's really important is curb appeal as well as the neighborhood. Now, obviously you can't change your neighbors too much, but I have an example of a home I sold where they had a common side yard with off the driveway, and the seller was going to mulch his section. So he got permission from the next door neighbor to remove their weeds and mulch it so it all looked consistent. Important for first impressions when the buyer drives up, but also important for photography because you can't crop the photo right at the property line. You're going to get a little influence of the neighbors as well. So it's important that you do your best to make everything as far as first impressions look its best. Also, there's so many curb appeal tips that I could help you out with, but I have a guide where you can download. So look at the link below to get that guide. Number 3 is pick up your personal items daily, all the time, for photos, everything. I'm talking dirty laundry, mail, dirty dishes, and you need to work on a checklist. So point number 4 is set yourself up for success. Either allow yourself time every morning, say an extra 30 minutes in your schedule, to prepare the home and make sure everything's set up once the kids have left or anybody is left for the day. And then when you get a buyer call, you only have a small area where you're sitting during the day to clean up. The other option would be to work with your agent to schedule a 2 or 3 hour window each day when buyers can come and that you plan to be away running errands or doing other things that day. Then before you leave at that time, you get the house totally ready for those great first impressions. Okay, the last section is during inspections and disclosures. Getting your inspections done up front is valuable for several reasons. The first one is you as a seller will have time to make any repairs that might be necessary or you might have been surprised about before you present the home to a buyer. Second reason is if you can't make those repairs or don't have the budget for those repairs, you can get an estimate or at least know what you're negotiating. I've had several cases where a foundation crack has come up. Most buyers hear foundation crack and they freak out. They immediately think $20, $30, $40, even $50,000. In many cases, they're really minor and they're not that big of a deal. So it gives us time to do, if you do inspections ahead of time, to get a foundation expert out to talk about a repair for that item. In many cases, in my experience, the repair is only $5,000 or $10,000, which relative to the cost of homes here in San Jose is so minimal. So you want to put actual numbers in front of the buyers so they don't blow things out of proportion. So I know that is a lot of prep and guidance, and this is exactly why you need to hire a professional agent who is very familiar with the steps of preparing a home and what's going on in the current market to set yourself up for success. You want a buyer to come in with a strong offer that's well researched so that once they're in contract, they stick in contract and close escrow for you. The last thing you want is a buyer to get into contract, you remove your property off the market, and all of a sudden they back out because they have contingencies and they did their own inspections and found something you weren't aware of. Not a good situation. Not a way to sell your home fast, that's for sure. So if you'd like a couple more tips, I recommend you watch 2 other videos that I have. One is 8 steps to increase the value of your home. It has a lot more specifics about what I talked about with home staging and prep. The second one is 7 tips to sell your home fast. Again, more specifics to get you on this topic, but get into action. Thanks so much for watching.